What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lawrence here at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and I've covered a lot of Garbage Pail Kids things here on the channel. Not only that, I've done a lot of value content here regarding those Garbage Pail Kids, and there's a lot of misconceptions out there about value right now. If you go to Google and you type in Garbage Pail Kids and you search those videos, a lot of them you're going to find are done by me. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the value of some of these cards. I'm going to show you my new pickups and just talk about the Garbage Pail Kids and why I love them so much. But before we get started in the video, I remind you guys, if you're not a current sub of the channel, do yourself a favor. Not only do I cover GPK, I do comics, obviously, toys. I'm covering the new Masters of the Universe movie, and anything's nostalgia out there that you grew up with as a kid, we're covering here on the channel. Also, do me a solid. I need you to hit that like button for me. The more likes that we get, the more people watch the videos, and that's always important. With that said, let's get into this video about GPK.
If your teacher says you're bad and sends you to the principal, you can be a garbage pail kid.
So let's start off by me showing you guys what I was able to actually pick up over the past couple of months. Some of the things I have showed before on a couple of live streams that I did, but again, for a standalone video, these usually get a lot more views and a lot more GPK enthusiasts out there are going to watch them. So let me show you guys what I picked up. So just bear with me. There are some really cool things that I've done and created towards the end of the video that I also want to show you. So just make sure you stick around till the end. So the first thing I actually picked up was this really cool Imperial Toys Atom Bomb. Now, this thing is really fucking awesome. Okay, so shout out to Matt over at gpk.com. That's GEEPEEKAY.com. Make sure you go check out his website because it's awesome for any Garbage Pail Kid collector. But this I thought was really cool. I know he collects a lot of Imperial Toy stuff, and this is a keychain from the 1980s relating to the Garbage Pail Kids. And you can see by the Toys R Us sticker that's on this thing that it was purchased at Toys R Us for 87 cents back in the day. And of course, it's Atom Bomb, the Garbage Pail Kid, when we're talking about GPK. One of the best ever. So again, the back is just nothing but cardboard, but this thing is actually in really fantastic shape. So it's one of the reasons why I went with this one. And I think I paid about $40-something for this thing, but a really cool collectible GPK toy that you don't see that often. There are a few on eBay in this kind of shape. All right, so let me show you also my most prized possession when we're talking about GPK, and that is an Atom Bomb PSA 8 near mint. This is a sticker checklist. Okay, I'm sure a lot of GPK enthusiasts out there know the difference between a checklist and a regular back, stuff like that. But I bought this a few years back. I did have an entire GPK collection, Series 1 all the way through Series 8, but I ended up actually selling that and moving on to just collecting just of the few series, like Series 1, 2, and 3 is really my main focus right now. But I definitely wanted a nice Atom Bomb, and this one actually a really beautiful one. We're talking about PSA 9s or 10s. It gets to be incredibly expensive, so I think 8 was right around $300 is what I spent for this. Maybe a little bit less a few years ago. I don't really remember. Regardless, this has been in my collection for quite a bit. All right, so let me get into the actual Series 1 that I just picked up, okay? So Series 1, to me, is the best series that was ever created by GPK. Some will argue that it's Series 2. I'm not too sure, but this is a Series 1 collection. It is not complete that I just picked up. So I'm going to go with you and show you all of the cards that it came with. Of course, Junk Food John and Ray Decay. I just have Heavin' Steven, so I don't have his counterpart. Fryin' Brian and Electric Bill. Again, one of my favorites from Series 1. Absolutely love this card in the orange and the creativity. Then, of course, also we have another one of my faves, Dead Ted. I do not have his 5B counterpart yet, but I am working on that. Art Apart and Busted Bob. Again, another clever name for GPK Series 1. And I'm going to go through these rather quickly because I know a lot of you have seen these before. Here is April Showers and Stormy Heather. Again, one of the more expensive cards if you get in super high grade. And most of these cards that I'm showing you, they are in really good shape. They're not too beat up. I have Drunk Ken. I have a TV Stevie. Don't have his 10B counterpart yet, but like I said, I am working on completing this set. Itchy Richie, and Bugged Burt. Now, this Bugged Burt I was able to pick up from Zap Comics, my local shop, when they got some GPK in. You can see what I paid for it, and it's in decent shape. Again, mid-grade on that card when we're talking about PSA grading, but Itchy Richie I was able to pick up on the new set that I picked up, and I just matched them together. So Itchy Richie off-center, but definitely in better shape. Here's Harry, Mary, and Furry Fran. You could see the coloring on these two cards is not exactly matched. That happened a lot with Series 1 and Series 2 GPK, where a lot of them are a little bit mismatched, where some of the colors are lighter than others. Here we have Ashcan Andy and Spacey Stacy. These two cards were some of my favorite growing up as a kid. I've always loved the play on Star Wars with the blue sky background. Absolutely beautiful. I've loved these two ever since I was a little kid. We have Alan Al and Mauled Paul. Weird Wendy and Haggy Maggie. Looney Lenny and Wacky Jackie. Again, you can see a little bit of a slight color variation for these two cards. We have Bad Brad, but I do not have his counterpart, 18A. Hopefully we'll acquire that soon. One of the more expensive Series 1 GPK and super high grade is Corroded Carl and Cratered Chris. I believe I covered that on an earlier GPK video, but values have come down, and we'll talk about that a little bit soon. We have Swell Mel, but we do not have his B counterpart. We have a Sicky Vicky and a Virus Iris. You can see I only paid $3 for this at my local LCS for the Virus Iris, and I matched it up with Sicky Vicky from this set that I just picked up. But again, don't overpay for some of these cards. I know eBay is really our only space into finding some of these, but if you find them out in the wild, make sure you know what they're really worth. Junkie Jeff and Stinky Stan. Again, some of my favorite cards growing up as a kid. Pay no attention to that rookie card up at the top. That's not writing. That's just the card holder that I have. Then, of course, we have Leaky Lou and Drippy Dan. Another really, really classic Garbage Pail Kid. Another really expensive GPK from Series 1 and super high grade is Nerdy Norm and Nervous Rex. Again, slight color variation here as well. Nervous Rex is a little bit lighter, so I guess the printing here wasn't equal for both cards. And again, these probably came from two different sets that were matched up. Scary Carrie and Creepy Carol. Again, a little bit offset on Creepy Carol, and it does play a role into the value of some of these cards. Another one of my favorite were Fat Matt and Slobby Robbie. To me, Slobby Robbie and Fat Matt, again, a great take on early GPK, where this might have offended a few people back in the day, but to me, growing up with them, I absolutely adored them. We have Jenny Genius. I'm still waiting on her counterpart, 27A, but I did order that. That one is coming in the mail from eBay. Uzi Susie and Melton Melissa. Very cool yellow cover card. I don't have any of the variations yet. I believe there are a few of the variations. I'm not sure what Series 1. Here's Rundown Rhoda. Again, another great play on a name for Garbage Pail Kids. We'll track down that 31B sooner rather than later. Frigid, Bridget, and Chili Millie. Another great one. As you can see, Frigid Bridget is not quite centered. So, again, that plays a role into the value of the cards for all you GPK fans out there that do collect GPK. Mad Mike and Savage Stewart. Pretty decent centering on these two. Kim Kong and Anna Banana. Again, color variations. You can see Kim Kong is a little bit lighter than Anna Banana. Wrinkly Randy and Rockin' Robert. Again, one of my faves growing up as a kid. Rappin' Ruth Still waiting on her B counterpart. Don't have that one yet, but that's what makes collecting GPK fun, is kind of finding these out in the wild, maybe not picking up a complete set and then trying to find the singular cards that you need. Guillotina and Cyndi Lauper. Slimy Sam, again, waiting on her B counterpart. Buggy Betty, again, also missing her counterpart. Here we have Damaged Don, another great one from early GPK. I prefer Unstitched Mitched. That's a better card, in my opinion, a better name. The cards obviously look the same, but a really, really freaking creative name for those two. And last but not least, for Series 1 is 41A and B, Mean Gene and Joltin' Joe. So along with my Series 1 incomplete set that I did pick up, I also picked up this PSA 7 Near Mint unopened Series 1 Garbage Pail Kid pack. Now, these are really expensive, okay? The higher the grade you go, the more expensive they get. I think if you get buy graded, they're going to be at least over $350 per pack, no matter what the grade. And especially if you buy it loose, not graded by PSA, which honestly, in my opinion, for Series 1, you're really taking a chance, because unfortunately, there's a lot of dishonest people out there who reseal packs and give you like the worst off-centered card in a repack. For me, I felt safer buying a PSA graded pack just to have in the collection. Now, at some point, I may go ahead and crack this thing open and see if we can find an Atom Bomb or a Nasty Nick in super high grade, of course, center, that we could send off for grading, because those, of course, are the two most expensive GPKs. So that is really a risk in my opinion, but you never know. Down the line, stay tuned to the channel, because I might go ahead and do that, but we'll see what happens. And the last thing I really want to show you guys today before I answer some of these questions about value is some awesome self-graded cards that I was actually able to create. Thanks again over to Matt at gpk.com, who showed me his process for slabbing his own cards. And keep this in mind, guys, this is strictly for fun. Just a really cool idea if you're a card collector out there and you don't want to go ahead and spend the money on grading your cards, especially if they're mid-grade or lower grade. And grading your cards is really hard, because you can look at a card and it looks pristine to the naked eye, but then you send it off to PSA, or if you use another card grading company, and it comes back like a 3 or a 4, because there are little microscopic things that to the naked eye we're not going to see on a card, that they're going to go ahead and check out and make sure and actually give an accurate grade to a card. So doing this yourself, I thought, was a really fun idea. So shout out to Matt. You can see here, we're going to start off with my Messy Tessie, one of my favorite GPK cards from Series 2. And of course, you can see it's a PSA-like logo that I created. It says 1985 Garbage Pail Kids cards, Messy Tessie stickers, and then we have a barcode. That barcode in the front means absolutely nothing. It's just for design purposes, which I thought was really, really cool. It's got the GPK symbol over on the front. And of course, we have a little Messy Tessie there, little caricature that was added over to the label, which I thought was a cool addition. 45B. And this is a mint condition card. Now, I'm not going to go out there and grade these cards, 7, 8, 9, or whatever grade I think it is. I think mint, near mint, average, stuff like that is right around what we want to do here. We'll go ahead and show you the back on this one. So you're going to see the mighty seal of approval, which is me, of course, Messy Tessie, 45B, and you see a QR code and a number beneath. Now, the number beneath is actually the number in which I created these labels. So this is the first one I ever did, Messy Tessie. So it's basically starting with a 1. And the QR code is something really, really cool. So if you scan this with your phone, a QR code, it will actually take you to the page on gpk.com to Series 2 to show you all the Series 2 cards, because obviously Messy Tessie is a Series 2 GPK. So I thought that was a cool addition I could add to my cards if I really wanted more information about each card. So next up, again, also from Series 2, we have Dead Fred, 57B, and again, I'm calling this one mint as well. It's not going to be perfect. None of my cards are, but this one is pack fresh from a couple of years ago, where I did unpack a couple of Series 2s. This came from that pack. Again, a little off-centered, but again, same thing, the back, so it has a puzzle piece for Series 2. If you scan that QR code, you're going to see that it's going to take you to gpk.com Series 2 page. You can check out all the info from Series 2. And this, of course, is number 3, the third card that I did. I'm not doing these in order, of course. Here we have Hot Scott. Now, Hot Scott is 64A, another Series 2 card. This one is mint. It is perfectly centered. This one could get a PSA 9 or 10, in my opinion. Again, that's only my opinion. Who knows? Once you send it off, you never know what you're going to get. But again, I'll show you the back. That QR code, I'm repeating myself, is going to take you to Series 2 GPK's website, that page. And this is card number 2. So again, a really cool way if you want to slab your own cards. And if anybody is interested out there in me giving you some of my labels, you could do this yourself, or I could do it for you. It may be something that I add over to my Instagram or a webpage if I'm starting to sell these things. Let's gauge the interest, and you guys out there let me know. Here we have a Bony Joni from Series 1. This is 29A. Now, this one is labeled mint. It is not a mint card. It's definitely a mid to lower grade, but as I was doing these, I wanted to stick to a format here, so no big deal. I'm doing this for myself. I'm not going to go ahead and resell these cards, but I can actually do what you want. I could grade them for you if you guys are interested, but again, really, really cool. You're going to see it's going to take you over, if you scan that QR code, to Series 1's page over at gpk.com. Again, which I think is a really cool feature for anybody out there who wants to kind of log their Series 1, Series 2, whatever series you want, GPK cards. Again, this is the 4th one that I did, so it's 004. And of course, we have our counterpart, Thin Lin. Thin Lin, of course, is 29B. Again, this is not a near mint card, even though I have it labeled at mint. This is just for show purposes. And of course, there you have the back, same thing. I could alter this if you guys are really wanting something like that. I could maybe, instead of doing the Mighty Seal of Approval, have your own logo if you'd like to send it to me. Now, here's a great one. It is actually Nasty Nick, the most expensive Garbage Pail Kid there is. 1A mint Nasty Nick with the nice Nasty Nick logo on here, a little bit off-centered. I have it labeled as mint. It's not a mint card, even though it is a nice-looking Nasty Nick. Same thing on the back. Scan that QR code. It's going to take you to gpk.com, Series 1 page. And of course, this is the 10th one I've done, so it's labeled as number 10. We have his counterpart, Evil Eddie, 1B. Again, same thing, a slightly off-center. These actually match really well together. Evil Eddie and Nasty Nick, they look great side by side because they're actually offset to the left a little bit. We're showing more on the right-hand border of the white. So either way, they really look great together. Having them slab side by side. So again, guys, let me know if you're interested. And the last one I'm going to show you guys is this. Blasted Billy with a great Atom Bomb Blasted Billy logo on the label. Again, I really wanted to stick to that PSA style, but we can be changed. We could do other colors, stuff like that. AP is just a little bit more work, but either way, that cool Atom Bomb Blasted Billy logo. And again, of course, like I said before, this QR code is going to take you to gpk.com, Series 1 page. You can check out all the Series 1 cards. There are no values on gpk.com, and that's for a reason. A lot of these should be collected for nostalgia purposes. There are a lot of them out there, so none of them are rare. Where they are rare is when you get to Series 1, Series 2 cards in super high grade, 9s or 10s, okay? That's where the rarity factor is, and even then, they're still not ultra rare. They just get a little bit more pricey. And of course, the last thing I want to show you guys, which I have not actually put in its own case yet, is my own Garbage Pail Kit. I promoted this in the past. I still have a few of these left if anybody out there is interested, but Mighty Comes and Collectibles, that's me. Mind Blown Mighty. Looks a little bit like me. I'm going to give a shout out to the artist out there who did this for me. Thank you so much. Again, these are cheap. I think they're $5 on my merch store, so make sure you check that out. The link is in the description of every video. So let's talk a little bit about value, because I think if you stuck around to this point, that's really what you're interested in. So if you go back a couple of years, I've done a lot of GPK videos about the values of some of these cards, but they have really come down in price on graded cards. I think raw cards, for the most point, if you could find them for a deal, which you can, because I picked up my near complete Series 1 set for $850. Now, if you do the math, I think that, you know, it comes out to like $13 per card because there's 82 cards in a set. I think I got like 60 something, 66, 67 cards in this set. So $13 per card for cards that are in pretty good shape. They're not perfect. They're probably not 8, 9s, or 10s. Maybe some of them are, some of them aren't, but they really present well. And that's what I want as a collector, right? I'm not going to go out there and grade all of these cards because the cost to grade a lot of them is going to be a fortune, okay? If you use PSA and you have an account and you submit in bulk, it's probably going to cost you $20-something per card. You do the math. That's over $1,600 per card without shipping, insurance, all that fun stuff. Okay, that's a lot of money to spend on these cards. Now, with that said, if you have super high grade cards for Series 1 or Series 2, I've said that from day one, those are the cards that I would grade. Now, I would get them looked at by an expert before you spend this money, because a lot of people, like I said before, to the naked eye, you're going to see that they look pretty clean. But if they really go in a deep dive inspection of some of these cards, that's really going to give you your answer, okay? Anything above Series 2, I am not grading, because the cost to grade some of these cards, that have to be all 10s, in my opinion, in order to justify the amount of money that you're going to spend. So with that said, Series 1 and Series 2, if you want to grade, go ahead, but they have to be super minty. Now, like I said before, $13 per card for Series 1 is what I was willing to pay. And I think for Series 2, you could probably go a little bit cheaper than that. Series 2 is also quite in demand. Now, we're going to take a look at Jolton Joe here. He's 41B, and as you can see, it's a little bit off-center, but still a nice presenting card. Not every card you're going to get is going to be, straight, centered, all that fun stuff. There's a little bit of damage also on this one on the back. But I do think if you're willing to buy these cards in a set as opposed to going out and buying each one individually, because it is harder to do so if you're going to do it that way, I only need about like 8 or 9 more. I've actually picked up a few off of a collector on Facebook, and then I've picked up a few on eBay as well. It's always going to be cheaper to buy as a set. Now, as opposed to value, guys, Series 1 and Series 2, you could still get for cheap, all right, in mid-grade if you just want to own the cards. You saw at Zap Comics, I picked up a couple for $3, a couple for $5, a couple for $10, depending on the grade and how hard they are to actually go out and buy right now. And I think most people use eBay to kind of gauge where they are and where their value for the collection lies. Now, if there is a website out there that can give me values for some of these cards, I'd love to know what it is. I know PSA will give you some values. If you are a member, you can use some of the tools they have on their site. So that's great if you're a PSA graded card collector. For me personally, to spend the amount of money on the majority of Series 1, Series 2 as graded, it would cost a crazy amount of money. I don't want to do that nowadays. So I have my Atom Bomb in an 8. I want to show you guys right here. We've actually had 2 recent sales for the exact card that I have. Atom Bomb 8A, one for around $400 and then one for over $500, the exact same card. Now, I think, honestly, my card is a little bit better centered than the first one here for $400, but I think I paid like $325, $350 for mine, so I've actually made out well. So knowing what you're buying is always going to help you out. And that goes with anything collecting, right? But if you're a new collector out there and you just want to know about values, do your homework. Go look on eBay for what the cards actually look like. You have to really zoom in, get an idea how really expensive these cards can be. Or be honest, if you're buying raw, go look at the card itself, see what it's sold for, see why it's sold for. You can go actually check on their sold listings, which card is more valuable than others. Obviously, Atom Bomb and Nasty Nick are the 2 most expensive cards. That's why for me personally, if I was going to buy graded, I would buy those 2 graded and probably everything else raw. But you guys do what you want. I hope this gives you a little bit into insight into how my mind works when talking about GPK. Doesn't always matter about value, but it does matter how much you're willing to spend. There are a couple of Facebook groups out there that I'm actually a part of that will help you out, help other collectors out who are actually looking for some of these cards. So keep that in mind as well. You may get some great deals, but again, do your homework. That is the most important thing. I'm always here for questions on Instagram, mightycomics_collectibles. And of course, if you have cards that you want to sell, just keep in mind what they're actually worth. That is the most important thing. So, like always, if you're interested in the labels that I'm creating and you want to slab your own cards, let me know in the comments. And also, you can contact me again on Instagram to let me know what you think, and so on and so forth. Like always, this is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics Collectibles saying thank you for watching, happy collecting, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Your teacher says you're bad.